So Eddie first mentioned in my cross that, or rather his cross, that options are offered here at UD for these elective courses. However, there's a big issue with that. Not here at Upper Dublin, because we're fortunate enough to have these available to us, but around the country is the grand scheme of things here. We're not talking about does Upper Dublin prepare its students for the real world. We're talking about schools across the country. And Upper Dublin may do a fantastic job at preparing its students, but if other schools around the country can't say the same, you can't just base it off of familiarity and what you know. Things like business courses, I mean, these kinds of teachers are not present at schools everywhere in the United States. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a business teacher maybe somewhere in the Great Plains where farming and agriculture is the focus of things. Now, having said that, maybe there's someone there. I don't think that's the focus of business out in that kind of area, but I hope you get my point at least. Also, Eddie mentioned how he asked me if I enjoyed my experiences, and I do, but I don't think that these kinds of things define exactly my preparation for the real world. Even though he's enjoyed his experiences and I've enjoyed mine, that doesn't mean that we're ready. Up to the government, or according to the government rather, readiness is indicated by these standardized tests. And again, whether or not you agree with that, that's a different story. Personally, I don't, but that isn't the focus of today's debate. The point that's trying to be made there is that these students don't have the basic knowledge in order to pass these relatively benchmark tests that, not that they should necessarily be the most easy thing in the world, the easiest thing, but they should be relatively simple to at least answer the questions and be able to pass. And if that can't be done, that shows a lack of proficiency in the subject. In addition, Eddie mentioned Eastern. Eastern's a fantastic program that we happen to have a relationship with it here at Upper Dublin. But one, again, if you take a look, that's not the kind of thing that's available everywhere. And two, that isn't something that is specifically involved with our school. It is a tech institute, but it is not part, and while it's part of the school day, it is not part of Upper Dublin. It is not part of this school. It is a separate program that Upper Dublin happens to have a relationship with. And while it does open up these opportunities for those who go there, it doesn't mean that necessarily students who don't go, or students who go are prepared. They're prepared for their field. They may not be prepared for the real world. If someone goes for cosmetology but later decides they want to be a surgeon, cosmetology isn't going to prepare you for surgery. So even if you go, ultimately things can change so much that you can't base it off of one singular opportunity. The other point I'd like to make is that Eddie made a point to say that the courses here are options for us. Well, like I said, they aren't around the country, and even with the No Child Left Behind Act intact, it's not the kind of class that they're looking for to see student progression and student ability. Student ability, at least in the government's eyes here in the United States, is measured on the ability to pass these standardized tests, and taking into account these other business courses and everything, should they may ready you for business, should they may ready you for entrepreneurship. But ultimately, that shouldn't and doesn't define exactly how you can be ready for the real world. And ultimately, the required classes here at Upper Dublin, and really all around the country, don't definitively do that. Only the extra classes do, and as long as they're not required, it's not going to accomplish its goal. Thank you for the affirmative.